In the last class, we discussed about the working of various cycles, petrol engine cycles and diesel engine cycles, and we also derived an expression for the efficiency of the Otto cycle, which was given by 1 minus T1 by T2, that is equal to 1 minus 1 over RC raised to power gamma minus 1, and where this RC is the compression ratio in case of the petrol engine, and gamma is the ratio of the specific heats. And this was the cycle which we considered in the last case. This is Otto cycle, and you know that the process which are there in the Otto cycle are: the first one is the reversible adiabatic compression, the second one is the heat supplied at constant volume, the third one is the reversible adiabatic expansion, and the fourth one is the heat rejection at constant volume. So basically in this cycle there were two reversible adiabatic processes, and we were having two reversible constant volume processes. So these four processes comprised the uh, Otto cycle actually. Till now I haven't discussed about the TS diagram for this cycle. I will discuss all those TS diagrams at the end of the lecture. Or I can tell you right now also. For example, if you see the first process in the PV diagram, the process 1 to 2 is actually the reversible adiabatic process, and during a reversible adiabatic process, the entropy remains constant. It also written here S is equal to constant. So S is equal to constant means that entropy remains constant. So you can see here we have drawn two constant volume lines. This is one constant volume line, this is another constant volume line, and we are considering that this is the starting point. And from here, the compression takes place, and the compression ends here. And because it's a reversible adiabatic compression, or you can say it's a constant entropy process, so that is why it's a vertical line. Then from 2 to 3, we are supplying the heat Q1 as it is seen here, and during this supply of heat at constant volume, the pressure as well as the temperature also increase, as is visible from the PV diagram that the pressure increases. So it means at point number 3 here on the TS diagram, the pressure should actually show some increase with respect to point number 2. So if I draw the constant pressure line on this diagram, then it will be something like this. This is one of the constant pressure line, and this is another constant pressure line. The pressure here will be equal to P3, and here the pressure will be equal to P2. So that is what I wanted to tell you, that during a constant volume heating process, the pressure increases, and I have drawn these curves of constant pressure also at both the state points 2 and 3. And then during process 3 to 4, it is the reversible adiabatic expansion, and during this process temperature and pressure actually reduce. So and moreover there is no heat transfer, so the entropy will also remain constant. So that is why it's a vertical line from point number 3 to point number 4 here. And if I want to draw the constant pressure line, that will be something like this. So you can say this is the pressure P4, and then from process 4 to 1, there is heat rejection at constant volume. This is written here, V is equal to constant, and then once again we reach at point number 1. Here the pressure is P1, and this is the constant pressure line for P1. So we have 4 different pressures which I have depicted in the TS diagram also. Certain more things I would like to tell about the TS diagram. The area of the curve in the TS diagram shows us the net work output of the cycle actually. So if I have to calculate the net work output of the cycle, then the area which is represented within this graph, within this closed figure, that is actually equal to the work transfer. So this area is W net. Okay. So for example, if I have to calculate the value of the heat transfer, then how to calculate the values of the heat transfer in this particular case? Let me tell you. Let me insert one slide here. Just a minute. Yes, the slide has been inserted. So, for example, this was the cycle which we have drawn, TS diagram. If this was the initial process 1 to 2, this is the second process at constant volume, this is the third process from 3 to 4 at constant entropy, and this is the process 4 to 1 during which the heat is rejected. So we know that during process 1 to 2 there is no heat transfer because these are reversible adiabatic processes. This is PV raised to power gamma is equal to constant, and this is also PV raised to power gamma is equal to constant. During these processes, the value of Q is zero, therefore entropy remains constant. So S is equal to constant during the process 1 to 2 and 3 to 4 during these processes. But if we want to calculate the heat transfer during the process 2 to 3 or during the process 4 to 1, I can easily calculate. You know, the value of delta Q is given by TdS. So if I have to calculate the value of Q heat transfer for the process 2 to 3, what I will do, I will integrate this equation between 2 to 3. So basically this gives me the area under the curve. This is actually equal to area under the curve 2 to 3. Okay, so it means uh, during the process 2 to 3 we are supplying heat Q1. Okay, so this area which I am just going to show now, this whole area is actually representing the heat supplied during the process 2 to 3. So this is Q2 to 3. Similarly, if I want to calculate what is the heat rejected during the process 4 to 1, then that would be the area under the curve 4 to 1, and it can be shown from these yellow lines. This area represents the heat transfer or heat rejected during the process 3 to 4, or 4 to 1, sorry, during 4 to 1. So that is how we calculate the heat transfer in case of heat supply processes like constant volume or constant pressure. Now let me tell you why we have drawn constant pressure and constant volume uh, with different slopes actually. So basically now I am going to discuss about the slope part of the constant volume and constant pressure process on a TS plot. Now as I have told you, if this is the state point 1, then constant volume process will go along this side. I can say it is 1 to 2A and it is 1 to 2B. So you can see the slope of the both the processes are different. 1 to 2A shows the constant volume process, whereas 1 to 2B shows the constant pressure process. Now, how to know that the slope of a constant pressure process is less than that of a constant volume process? Okay, as I told you, delta Q is given by TdS. Okay, this is the equation for the calculation of heat transfer in a particular process. So now what I will do, I will write the equation for the heat transfer for a constant volume process, and that is given by CVDT. Okay, CVDT represents the heat supplied during a constant volume process. So what I do, I take the value of delta Q here and write it equal to TDS. So this is the value of delta Q in a constant volume process, CVDT, and this is TDS. So now if I have to calculate the slope for a TS diagram, it is given by dt by ds. So I calculate the value of dt by ds here for the constant volume process, and the answer comes out that the slope for a constant volume process, that is this value, this is the slope actually. Okay, that value is actually equal to T by CV. Now in a similar manner, I calculate the value of the slope for a constant pressure process also. So you can see it here. I have calculated the slope. Once again, same equation. Now the delta Q in case of constant pressure process is given by Cp delta T or CPDT, it is equal to TDS, and from there I calculate the value of dt by ds at constant pressure, and it comes out to be T by Cp. So now I have got two equations. One is this equation and other is this equation, and in both the cases I have calculated the slope for at constant volume and constant pressure. So now for air, if or from this particular equation, you know that Cp minus Cv is equal to R. So it shows us that the value of Cp is greater than Cv, or otherwise also I know that the value of Cp for air we know is 1.005, whereas the value of CV for air is equal to 0.78. So that means the value of CV for air is less than the CP for air, or if you consider any other gas also, in that particular case also the CP will be greater than CV. So once again you can see it here. Yeah, this is the value of the slope of the constant volume and it is given by T by CV. So if we consider that the temperature is constant in both the cases, then I will, if I calculate the value of dT by ds at constant volume, it will be given by T by 0.718. And if I calculate the value of dt by ds, which is the slope for the constant pressure process, it will be given by T by 1.005 if I am considering air as the working substance. So you can understand from here that the slope of constant volume process will be large as compared to the slope of a constant pressure process. So that is why you can see the curve of constant volume process on a TS diagram is have greater slope in comparison to constant pressure process. So now I am going to utilize this knowledge for the next cycle, which is the diesel cycle or the constant pressure cycle. Diesel cycle or constant pressure cycle. One more thing that I would like to tell you is that in the last lecture I explained you about the petrol engine and the diesel engine. Now when we call think of a petrol engine is basically it works on auto cycle and it is also known as spark ignition engine. Spark ignition engine, because we need a spark to ignite or to produce the combustion in the combustion chamber of a petrol engine. Whereas if we talk about a diesel engine is a compression ignition, also called as compression ignition engine. Okay, sometimes we call it as CI engine, and for petrol engine we call it as SI engine. SI stands for spark ignition and CI stands for compression ignition engine. So I hope this part is clear. Why compression ignition? Because we are compressing the air to such a high pressure and temperature that as soon as we inject the fuel with the help of the nozzle into the combustion chamber, it immediately ignites or the combustion starts. So that is why diesel engine is a compression ignition engine. Now, in the last class, we discussed about the Otto cycle and we derived the expression for its efficiency. In a similar way, we are going to derive an expression for the efficiency of a diesel cycle actually. So, what is the basic difference between a diesel cycle and that of a Otto cycle that I am going to discuss now? It is written here, only difference between Otto cycle and the diesel cycle is that heat is supplied at constant pressure in diesel cycle in place of constant volume as in case of Otto cycle. So as I told you, in case of Otto cycle, the heat is supplied at constant volume and the heat is rejected at constant volume. So both the processes were happening on constant volume. But there is only one difference in diesel cycle, that the heat is being supplied at constant pressure. Okay, whereas the heat is rejected at constant volume, whereas the remaining two processes are same as were in case of a Otto cycle. So basically I can tell you that the diesel cycle comprises of the four processes. The first process is the reversible adiabatic. I am writing it here on the top. Reversible adiabatic. The second process is heat supply at constant pressure, and the third process is actually once again reversible adiabatic expansion. Reversible adiabatic expansion, and the fourth process is heat rejected at constant volume. So you can see the heat supply is at constant pressure and rejection is at constant volume. The only difference in case of Otto cycle was that this process of heat supply was at constant volume. Okay, so that is the basic difference between a Otto cycle and the diesel cycle. So once again, you can see the diagram. The diagram PV diagram is very similar to that of a Otto cycle. So just a minute, I will change the color. So 1 to 2 you can see from 1 to 2, it is the reversible adiabatic compression process. PV raised for gamma is equal to constant. 2 to 3, it is the heat supply. So we are supplying heat during this process. So I can say this is Q1. 3 to 4 is the isentropy expansion, or it represents the power stroke of a diesel engine actually. And then 4 to 1, it is the heat rejected. Okay, so Q rejection. So instead of Q1, I will say QSS stands for heat supplied, and QR stands for heat rejected. Now similarly, you can see here the TS diagram also. In the TS diagram from point 1 to 2, it is the reversible adiabatic compression. 2 to 3, it is the heat supplied at constant pressure. It is written as QS. Then from 3 to 4, it is the isentropic expansion or reversible adiabatic expansion. And 4 to 1, it is the heat rejection represented by QR. So that is how the four processes take place in case of a diesel engine cycle or diesel cycle or constant pressure cycle. It is also known as compression ignition cycle engine actually. Now, having explained you about the various processes of the cycle, now I am going to explain you about the very two important parameters. The first one is similar that we discussed in case of auto cycle also, where we defined RC. What was RC? RC was compression ratio, and it is the ratio of the volume before the start of the compression divided by the volume after the compression is over. So this value in case of diesel engine is equal to 14 to 22, and this value RC, once again I am reminding you, is actually equal to VC plus VS divided by VC. Okay, so once again the compression ratio varies between 14 to 22. The next is the cutoff ratio. Now, this is another extra ratio which was not there in case of a auto cycle. It is represented as rho, and it is the ratio of the volume V3 by V2. Now, what does it actually means? It means that in a real engine, fuel or diesel, injection starts at point number 2 and finishes at point number 3. That is, the fuel supply is cut off at point number 3. So basically, once again, to explain you, the fuel supply starts at point number 2, and at constant pressure this fuel supply continues up to point number 3, and at this particular point the fuel supply is cut off. So the ratio of the volume at the end of the fuel supply to the volume at the start of the fuel supply is known as the cutoff ratio. So that this is a very important parameter in case of a diesel engine. Now let us calculate the efficiency of the diesel cycle. Once again, in a similar manner, we can write all the equations of the heat transfer like we did in case of a auto cycle. So I am not repeating those calculations here, because there is only one difference between auto cycle and the diesel cycle, that in case of diesel cycle, we are supplying the heat at constant pressure rather than at constant volume. So once again, the efficiency of the diesel engine will be given by 1 minus QR divided by QS, where QR stands for the heat rejected and QS stands for the heat supplied. So now let us write the expression for the heat rejected. Heat is rejected during the process 4 to 1. So this is the value of QR. So QR will be given by CV T4 minus T1. We derived this expression in case of auto cycle also. So this is the value of the heat rejected. And then here in the denominator, we can write the value of heat supplied. And now in this case, the heat is supplied at constant pressure. It is QS, and it is at constant pressure. So the value will be equal to Cp T3 minus T2. Now, in the next part, what we can do is we can divide the numerator by CV and denominator also by CV. So in the numerator, the CV and CV cancels out, whereas in the denominator, Cp by CV gives us the value gamma. So efficiency of the diesel engine is 1 minus T4 minus T1 divided by gamma over T into T3 minus T2. Now once again, I have defined the value of or expressed the value of the diesel engine efficiency in terms of temperatures and gamma. But I would like to represent the efficiency of the diesel cycle as a function of gamma and rho and compression ratio. So that is what I want to represent the efficiency of a diesel engine actually, or a diesel cycle actually. So what I can do is I have written, I can see that in the efficiency expression for the diesel engine, there are all temperatures T1, T2, T3 and T4. So what my aim is, I would like to represent all temperatures except T1 in terms of T1. So I would like to write the value of T2 in terms of T1. I would like to write the value of T3 in terms of T1. I would like to write the value of T4 in terms of T1. So let us start from the process 1 to 2. You can see the process 1 to 2 is the reversible adiabatic process. So I can write this equation T1 V1 raised to power gamma minus 1 is equal to T2 V2 raised to power gamma minus 1. So from here T2 comes out to be T1 V1 by V2 raised to power gamma minus 1. And you know we have defined the value of compression ratio as RC is equal to V1 by V2. So you can see here, so the value of T2 is equal to T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1. So this is the first equation. I got the value of T2 in terms of T1. Now I will go to the process 2 to 3. 2 to 3, as you can see in the diagram here, it is a constant pressure process, and for a constant pressure process I can write the expression V by T is equal to constant, and then I can write V3 by T3 is equal to V2 by T2, and from here I can get the value of T3, which will be equal to T2 into V3 by V2. So you know we have defined this value V3 by V2 as cutoff ratio. Rho is given by V3 by V2. So now T3 is equal to T2. Now what I can do is I can put the value of T2 from equation number 1, which is given here, and then find the value of T3 in terms of T1. So T2 is given as, you can see it here, I have written this value T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1, and this V2 by V1 is given as rho. So T3 comes out to be T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1 into rho. This is equation number 2. Now similarly, we can go for the process 3 to 4, which is the reversible adiabatic expansion process. So I can write T3 V3 raised to power gamma minus 1 is equal to T4 V4 raised to power gamma minus 1. And then I can write the value of T4 as T3 V3 by V4 both raised to power gamma minus 1. It is written here. And now what I can do is I can write the value of T3 from the previous equation number 2. So T3 was equal to T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1 into rho. So this was the value of the T3 which we got from the equation number 2. So what I can do, I can put this value of T3 here. It is equal to rho RC raised to power gamma minus 1 T1. And then what I have done here, I have multiplied in this expression, I have multiplied by V2 and also divided by V2. You can see it here. And then if you see it carefully, I get this as the same part which was written earlier. Now V3 by V2. V3 by V2 is for this particular process, and you know it is given by, it is rho, which is cutoff ratio. So I have written this value as rho, and then V2 by V4. V2 by V4. Let us see what is V2 by V4 actually. Now, V4, as you know, I want to calculate the value of V2 by V4. V4, you can see from the diagram, 4 and 1, they have the same volume. So I can write it is equal to V2 by V1, and it is equal to 1 over RC. So here, in place of V2 by V1, I can write 1 over RC. So and raised to power gamma minus 1. Then you can see this value of RC and RC will cancel out. RC raised to power gamma minus 1 and RC raised to power gamma minus 1 will cancel out. And here you have rho raised to power gamma minus 1, and here you have rho raised to power 1. So it becomes rho raised to power gamma into T1. So T4 is also calculated here using this particular equation number 3. Now what we can do, we can put all the values of T1, T2, T3, T4 in this equation of the efficiency of the diesel engine. I have written all values T2, T3 and T4 we have just calculated here. And then once you put all these values, you can find the efficiency of the diesel engine, which comes out to be and so now when I am writing this equation, I am just writing the value of T4. T4 is rho raised to power gamma into T1. So because T1 is there in each and every value of T2, T3 and T4. So I am not repeating that. I am just writing rho raised to power gamma minus 1. Similarly here also I have cancelled the T1 and the remaining values are used. So finally this is the expression for the efficiency of the diesel engine, which comes out to be 1 minus rho raised to power gamma minus 1 divided by rho minus 1 Rc raised to power gamma minus 1. So that is how we can calculate the efficiency of the diesel engine. Now let us proceed for calculating the efficiency of a next case. Now we are going to talk about the dual cycle. When I talked about the diesel cycle, it is basically because we are using diesel engine in that particular case. Here also in case of dual engine, it is also used for the diesel engine. So, but the only difference is that in case of high speed diesel engine, some part of the heat supply takes place at constant volume and some part of the heat supply takes place at constant pressure. So basically the heat transfer process takes place in two ways. As you can see here, some part of the heat supplied, you can say this is QS1, which is taking place at constant volume, and some part of the heat supplied is taking place at constant pressure. So I can call it as QS2. So basically in this particular case, there is one extra process, and in total there are five processes. So we have to uh, use the heat supply process in this particular case, one at constant volume and other at constant pressure. So it is also known as a mixed pressure cycle or a dual cycle. So heat is supplied both at constant volume and constant pressure, as I have already told you. All other processes are same as we have discussed in case of Otto cycle. So that means the first process is that of reversible adiabatic compression. Second process, heat supply at constant volume from 2 to 3. Then 3 to 4, it is the heat supply at constant pressure. Then 4 to 5, it is the reversible adiabatic expansion. Then 4 to 1, it is the heat, 5 to 1, it is the heat rejection process at constant volume. And then if you see the TS diagram, process 1 to 2 represents the reversible adiabatic compression, and during this process the entropy remains constant. 2 to 3 is the heat supplied at constant volume, represented as QS1 here, and you can see this is a constant volume, so its slope is higher in comparison to the slope of constant pressure, which is going like this. So 3 to 4, it is the heat supplied at constant pressure, it is QS2 heat supply. Then 4 to 5, it is the constant entropy process, S is equal to constant in this particular case, and because it's a reversible adiabatic process. And then 5 to 1, it is the heat rejection at constant volume, so it is QR. So that is how we can draw the dual cycle on a PV diagram and on TS diagram. Now there is one more important parameter that is get added to this particular case. Previously we have derived two parameters. First one was RC, which is actually compression ratio, which was given by V1 by V2. The second one was cutoff ratio, which was defined for the constant pressure heat supply process. So here in this particular case, the heat supply at constant pressure is occurring during the process 3 to 4. So here the value of rho is actually equal to V4 by V3, and since V3 is equal to V2 also, so I can write it is also equal to V4 by V2. This we will be using later on. Now because there is additional one more process from 2 to 3, which is the heat supply at constant volume, so corresponding to that we define another ratio which is known as alpha and known as explosion ratio, and it is given by P3 by P2. That means the rise in pressure when we have supplied injecting the fuel into the diesel engine actually. Okay, so during basically the in this particular case of dual cycle, the injection of the diesel starts at point number 2, but during this process there is only increase in pressure which occurs, whereas from process 3 to 4 there is only increase in volume which takes place. In actual engine, which is running very at a very high speed, the increase in pressure, and because the compression process is also taking place simultaneously when the injection is taking place, so we can represent the heat supply process in two parts basically. One is at constant pressure and other is at constant volume. So that is why there are two heat supply processes shown in case of dual cycle actually. So once again, what we can do is we can write the expression for the efficiency of the dual cycle, which is given by 1 minus QR. QR once again is heat rejected divided by heat supplied. Now, because there are heat supplied at two in case of two processes, so we are writing QS1 plus QS2. QS1 is the heat supplied at constant volume, whereas the QS2 is the heat supplied at constant pressure. And then we can write the expression for the heat rejection. You can see that the heat rejection is during the process 5 to 1. So the expression now changes to CV T5 minus T1. In the earlier case, in both the cycles, it was equal to CV T4 minus T1 because after T1, the previous point was actually T4, but here the previous point is 5. So it is heat rejected is given by CV T5 minus T1. And heat supplied is during the process of is during 3 to 2 at constant volume. So we write CV T3 minus T2 plus CP T4 minus T3. So this is the total value of the heat supplied in case of dual cycle. Then we can cancel out or divide the numerator and denominator by CV. So when we divide by CV in the numerator and denominator, the CV cancels out from here, and here in case of CP we get the value of gamma. So this is the final expression for the efficiency of the dual cycle. But once again, as we did in case of the previous cycles, we derived the efficiency in terms of certain parameters. So here we would like to calculate the value of dual efficiency as a function of gamma, as a function of rho, as a function of RC, and as a function of alpha. So this is how we want to represent the efficiency of the dual cycle. So once again, as you have seen, this is the expression for the efficiency of the dual cycle. So like in the case of diesel engine, we calculated the all temperatures in terms of T1. Here also we are going to calculate the values of all temperatures in terms of T1. So process 1 to 2, you can see it is reversible adiabatic. So I can write the expression T1 V1 is equal to T2 V2 raised to power gamma minus 1. So I get the value of T2 as T1 V1 by V2 raised to power gamma minus 1. And this V1 by V2 is RC. So T2 comes out to be T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1. Just wait for a minute. I have to change the charger of my laptop. Just wait for a second. Okay, so let us proceed further. Now we have for the second process, it is the constant volume process 2 to 3. And during this process, since volume is constant, we can say P by T is equal to constant. If you don't remember how we are calculating it, you must remember that we can always write PV is equal to MRT. M and R is constant for a particular gas, and if it's a constant volume process, what do you get? It is P by T is equal to constant, and this constant is actually equal to MR by V. Similarly, we can calculate this type of relationship for all the processes. So then now we can write it as T2 by T2 is equal to P3 by T3. So from here, T3 comes out to be T2, P3 by P2. And this should remember that P3 is written as alpha. And this is T2. Now we can put the value of T2, which is given by, you can see from the equation number 1 here, T2 is given by T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1. So the value of T3 comes out to be T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1 into alpha. This is equation number 2. Then we can go for the process 3 to 4. This is the process 3 to 4 here, which is the constant pressure, and this is the heat supply process at constant pressure. So from here we get T by V is equal to constant. So calculate the value of T4 by V4 is equal to T3 by V3. So T4 comes out to be T3, V4 by V3, and V4 by V3, as you know, we have written as cutoff ratio of rho, and T3 in the next line we can write it as T1. This is the value of T3, as you can see from here. This we can put it here. So it will be equal to T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1 into rho into alpha. So this is the value of T4. Now what we can do is we can calculate the value of T5. So for that, the process 4 to 5 can be considered. It is a reversible adiabatic expansion. So we can write T4 V4 minus raised to power gamma minus 1 is equal to T5 V5 raised to power gamma minus 1. Calculating the value of T5, it is given as T4. V4 by V5 raised to power gamma minus 1 and then T5 is equal to, you can put the value of T4. T4 is given as T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1 rho alpha. So you can see it here, T1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1 rho alpha. And V4 by V5, what we have done here is that we have multiplied by V2 and divided by V3. If you see the diagram here, you can see at point number 3 and point number 2, the volume is same. So there is no change in the expression written here. So what is V4 by V3? V4 by V3 is, if you see the diagram here, it is given as rho. And V2 by V5. What is V5? V5 is actually equal to V1. So V2 by V1 will be equal to 1 over RC. Okay. So then in when we do so, finally you can see this RC raised to power gamma minus 1 and this RC raised to power gamma minus 1 cancels out, and this value is rho raised to power gamma minus 1, and here we have the rho, so it becomes T1 rho raised to power gamma into alpha. So this is equation number 4. So basically we have calculated all the temperatures T2, T3, T4 and T5 in terms of T1. So now what we can do is we can put these values of temperatures in this particular equation of the efficiency of the dual cycle here. So just put all these values, and finally what you can do is you can find that the efficiency of the dual cycle is given by this particular expression here. It is equal to 1 minus rho raised to power gamma alpha minus 1 RC raised to power gamma minus 1 alpha minus 1 plus gamma alpha rho minus 1. So this is the expression for the efficiency of the dual cycle. Okay, after we have done through all this part, now what we can try is, you have seen that this dual cycle is a combination of Otto cycle and the dual cycle, because in this particular case we are supplying heat both at constant volume and both at constant pressure. So finally, when we get this particular expression of the efficiency of the dual cycle, we would like to know whether we have derived this expression correctly or not. So what we can do is we can try to modify this dual cycle to give us the Otto cycle for in the as the first case and diesel cycle as the second case. So if you want that this cycle 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, which is the dual cycle, to become a Otto cycle, then what I should do? Actually, in that particular case, I know in case of Otto cycle, the heat is supplied at constant volume and there is no heat supplied at constant pressure. So basically, point 4 and point 3 should coincide. Okay, the point 4 should coincide with point 3, and then the remaining processes remain the same. Okay, so when point 3 and point 4 will coincide, which value will be going to change? Actually, for point 3 and 4 we have defined rho, which is cutoff ratio, V4 by V3, and when these 2 points will coincide, the value of rho will come out to be 1. So if you put the value of rho equal to 1 in this particular expression, we should get a value of the efficiency of the Otto cycle. So let us see, do we get it here in this particular case? So when you put the value of rho here as 1, so 1, the remaining is alpha minus 1, RC raised to power gamma minus 1, alpha minus 1 plus gamma alpha, and rho minus 1. So rho is 1 minus 1. So this term goes, it becomes 0. And you can see, so we are left with RC raised to power gamma minus 1, alpha minus 1. So alpha minus 1 and alpha minus 1 cancels out, and the efficiency of the Otto cycles comes out to be 1 minus 1 over RC raised to power gamma minus 1. And I think you remember this value. This is what we got in case of the Otto cycle. Similarly, if I have to go, I want that the dual cycle become a uh, diesel cycle, then point 2 and point 3 should coincide. That means V3 should be equal to V2 and P3 should be equal to P2. And we have defined a ratio, which is explosion ratio given by P3 by P2. So in case of diesel cycle, this value will become 1. So once again, I will have to copy that expression of uh, diesel dual cycle because I don't remember. Okay, so you can see there, you can try this yourself. You put the values. So efficiency of the diesel cycle, you can see here, will be rho raised to power gamma, and this is the value of alpha, actually alpha minus 1. So rho into 1, rho raised to power gamma into 1 minus 1, this is what we get. Then you can see in the previous page, if the value of alpha is 1, this will become 0, and here this gamma alpha will go. So we will be left with RC raised to power gamma minus 1, gamma rho minus 1. So let us see. So RC raised to power gamma minus 1, gamma into rho minus 1. And you must remember that this was the expression for the efficiency of the diesel cycle. So this is what we did in case of, this is what we derived in case of the diesel engine. So yeah, I think I have written the efficiency of the dual cycle here, but I was looking on the previous slide. So it's okay. I hope you have understood it. And this is what I wanted to teach you in today's lecture. So please revise all the 3 cycles, do their derivations, and see their TS diagrams properly. Thank you.